our host is. I just want to give you the information about the mandate of the Ombudsman. The Ombudsman Institution is a constitutional institution established by the constitutional law, and we call it Constitutional Law and Commissioner for Human Rights. Shortly, we will call it Constitutional Law. This law was adopted in 2001, and in 2002, the Parliament of the country of Azerbaijan elected the first Ombudsman of Azerbaijan, and we consider this date as an establishment of our institution because after the election of Ombudsman, after the establishment of Ombudsman, we started to receive the complaints and appeals. The candidates, three candidates submitted some technical issues. I beg your pardon, really, and well, we can continue. Maybe my colleague will join us to settle this problem.
Zaur, meanwhile,
yeah.
May I ask something about the general?
Yes, please.
So in the previous trainings, we had the presentation and afterwards we had the question and answers part. But as far as I understood, we won't have such a different part, right? It will be just interactive.
Yeah, I want to make it more interactive, to make it more interesting for us, because I know that we have the similar functions, our institutions, and it will be interesting for me also to know your own experience on specific the fields. That's why I would be happy to learn your experience as well.
So we won't wait until the end to ask if you have anything. Okay, thank you.
Actually, we prepared a very interesting PowerPoint presentation, but you know that due to the technical issues, could you please? Well, now it seems it works. Great. Well, I already gave the introductory information about our the presentation and about the second part. Now we will continue the election of the Ombudsman by the Parliament. And then already told all of this. And to date, so far we have the three elections, and the last one was in 2019 on 29th of November. The current Ombudsman, Ms. Sabina Aliyeva, was elected by the Parliament as a new Ombudsman. So what's the mandate of Ombudsman, what the Ombudsman Institution does? It's enshrined in the first article of the constitutional law. It says that Ombudsman Institution restores the violated rights, those rights which are enshrined in the constitutional law, also in the international convention to which Azerbaijan is a party. In whole, the Ombudsman Institution supervises the protection of human rights and freedoms within its jurisdiction. It identifies the violations of human rights and contributes to the restoration of the violated rights and freedoms. The Ombudsman also fulfills the following functions. I call it actually the additional and specific the mandate of Ombudsman. Why? Because these the mandate are integrated to our constitution later after its adoption in 2009. The amendments made to the constitutional law, NPM, the National Preventive Mechanism. This Ombudsman designated as an NPM, National Preventive Mechanism mandate, was given to the Ombudsman. If you look at the international experience, then we can see the different the forms of such kind of mechanism, because according to the optional international convention against torture and optional protocol to this convention, each state should set up independent mechanism with its independent budget to implement the monitored implementation of this convention. So Later, I'll tell you more in detail because this is our main topic. The second one is the protection of the rights to access to information. It should be noted that the last year, upon the initiative of Ombudsman, new department which deals with the right to access to information was established in the Ombudsman office and with the 2 units, a quite large department. And third one is the independent mechanism, also given to the Ombudsman according to the international convention on the rights of the persons with disabilities, shortly CRPD, according to the article of this convention, the article 33.2, each state to which they joined this convention, each state should again establish independent mechanism for monitoring the implementation of the convention in the state, because state had the obligation for the implementation of the ICS, as you know, CRPD. The Ombudsman also can do the followings: may submit motions to the President of the country for granting pardon, citizenship, and political asylum. The Ombudsman submit motions to the Parliament for adoption or review of laws with the view to ensuring the human rights and freedoms. Ombudsman may submit a motion to the Parliament for declaring amnesty. Ombudsman may examine compliance on violation of human rights relating to red tape, loss of or delayed delivery of documents in courts, as well as delays in the execution of court judgments. So what kind of issues are out of the mandate of Ombudsman? So Ombudsman cannot do everything. And these are out of the mandate of Ombudsman. The Ombudsman shall not restrict the substitute the competence of other governmental bodies ensuring the protection of and the restoration of violated human rights and freedoms. So according to international the experience, we can say that Ombudsman institution are not a decision maker. Then they cannot take a binding decision actually. So there they can submit the recommendations to the relevant authorities in order to improve the administration. If we found any maladministration in the any kind of maladministration in the authorities, then of course Ombudsman can submit the related the recommendations and overcome the shortcomings and etc. So the Ombudsman's decisions are not binding, but however I can say that more powerful. The investigation of the activities of the President of country, deputies of the Parliament, and the judge shall not be subject to the powers of the Ombudsman. Now, today's main topic, national preventive mechanism. As was mentioned earlier, that the Azerbaijan ratified optional protocol to the convention in 2009 and in 2008, and in 2009, the country president signed a decree which designates our institution, Ombudsman Institution, as NPM. So this mandate was given to the Institution Ombudsman. The right to not be subject to torture. The main objective of the OPCAT is to establish a system of regular visits undertaken by independent international and national bodies to places where the people are deprived of their liberty, to prevent torture and other cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment or punishment. So there could be a question that you may ask, that whether the Ombudsman can, before the designation as an NPM, can monitor the implementation of the International Convention Against Torture. If you look at the first article of the constitutional law, then we can see that the Ombudsman restores the rights which are enshrined in the constitutional law, constitution, and also in the international conventions to which the Azerbaijan is country. So from this perspective, we can say that yes, the ombudsman can monitor the case which related to the torture or any kind of ill treatment. But before the giving this mandate to the ombudsman, the NPM, we established the rapid reaction team in order to monitor the situation, investigate the cases related to the torture or any treatment. So this rapid reaction team consists of the seven staff members. They also have the hotline number, and upon reception of any call and reports related to the ill treatment or any the torture, the members of rapid reaction team immediately visited that place where the torture and ill treatment act occurred, and conduct the on-the-spot investigation, and then prepare the report to the ombudsman. And after analyzing the situation, the ombudsman prepares the relevant recommendations to be submitted to the related authorities in order to settle the problem, in order to improve if there is any kind of the problems or shortcomings in the activities of that authority. But after the designating as NPM, the ombudsman established the national preventive group, and the head of the national preventive group also is here, and they provided some information for me. Now the NPM's mandate, we'll talk about the NPM's mandate. They are the following. What the NPMs can regularly examine the treatment of the persons deprived of their liberty in places of detention, to make recommendations to the relevant authorities with the aim of improving the treatment and the conditions of the persons deprived of their liberty, and to prevent torture, taking into consideration the relevant norms of the United Nations, to submit proposals and observations concerning the existing and draft legislation. So we see that now the mandate of ombudsman more clear. You know that before, as I said, we had such a team, rapid reaction team, before designating as the NPM, we had such a rapid reaction team, but then we didn't have the specific mandate, and it was not clear. I mean, the authorities of this team, and it was not clear. But however, the clearance and the clarifying the mandate is always helpful to implement, to fulfill these functions. Also necessitate that the independence of institutions. So for the effective implementation of this the mandate, you should have the independent institution with independent budget. So I think it should be noted that Azerbaijan Ombudsman Institution is a national human rights institution. In 2006, our institution applied for accreditation as a national human rights institution. So accredited as a national human rights institution in 2006, it means that the activities of ombudsman and also the constitutional law are in compliance with the Paris principles. These principles are the universal principles, which is adopted in 1993 by the United Nations General Assembly. So here we see that how important that the Ombudsman institution should be the independent institution in order to fulfill this function effectively. The OPCAT also recognized the following authorities for NPMs. to access the information on the number of persons deprived of their liberty, treatment of them, their detention conditions, and the number and location of the places of deprivation of liberty, to access to all places of deprivation of liberty, to carry out personal conversations with anyone deprived of liberty or any person who may provide relevant information. So in practice, our NPG member, the member of National Preventive Group, when they visit the places of deprivation, they can ask for any kind of documentation relevant to the case, and they can also they meet the person deprived of their liberty and face to face in confidential. So there could not be any hindrance. And when the NPG visits these places, they do it without any prior notification. So I mentioned all this. To establish relationships with the subcommittee, transmit information to it, and conduct meeting with it. The subcommittee, you know that UN, the Special UN Committee, which was started work in 2007. So we, as an NPM, the Ombudsman has very good cooperation with this committee. And many times we receive the repertoires from this committee, and also as a national human rights, as I mentioned, the Ombudsman Institution can submit to the UN committees the parallel, or we call it complementary report. And for example, the last year we submitted our the next report on Convention Against the Torture. The NPM prepared this report and submitted, and also we submitted our complementary report to the CRC Child Rights Convention and CRPD Convention on Rights with the People with Disabilities, as well as the Convention on Eliminating Racial Discrimination. Under the Article 18, 1.1 of the Constitutional Law, the members of National Preventive Group are appointed for the period of 3 years. So who are the members of the NPG, National Preventive Group? The persons not below the age of 25 with higher education, experience in human rights protection, and of a high moral values can be appointed as a members of National Preventive Group. At the present, the NPG consists of 23 members. And of course, not all of them are our staff members, and 7 members of this group, they represent of the different national, different civil society institutions, and as well as the international experts. So they can also take a part during the visits to the places of detention and meet the face-to-face the people, so they can take a part very clearly, so there's no any restriction. The National Preventive Group has the following authorities: to access the police station temporarily. These are the things that NPG, National Preventive Group, can do. The penitentiary institutions, military guardhouses, the psychiatric institutions, and other places which detained persons cannot leave on their own will at any time without hindrance or prior notification. So they have the following authorities. You can see here, and I will not read, to prepare the acts and documents the process and results of the actions undertaken. As I said, they prepare the reports, and then there's reports given to the Ombudsman. And of course, this report's based on the analysis of the case, whether there is any fact of any kind of ill treatment or torture. So these are the numbers that our NPG, the visits, and they realize it. So the NPG visits are divided in 2 categories: the scheduled visits and also the ad hoc visits. Scheduled visits is a planned visits in a year that the NPG do it in regular basis. But ad hoc visits, they are the not planned visits. So upon the reception any phone call, any complaint, an urgent complaint, for example, about the fact of any ill treatment or degrading treatment or torture. So MPG group members immediately go to that place and made on the spot investigation and prepare the report, ad hoc report to the ombudsman. Then, according to the analysis of this report, the decision is taken and the relevant the recommendations prepared and submitted to the relevant authorities. Know that the last year, actually, it still continues the pandemic, and when the last year started, the optional, the OPCAT, they issued advice for the NPM, because you know that there is also the place where the people cannot leave their own will. This place is quarantine. The people they kept there as for the quarantine reasons, and this the place is also included in the list of places where the NPM can visit. So from this photo, you can see that ombudsperson as NPM continues to conduct the visits in the period of pandemic. So any extremal situation cannot limit or restrict the ombudsman functions. The ombudsman focus is functions without any limit and restriction even during the pandemic. So my colleagues from MPG, they on regular basis they visit the places, psychiatric the centers and institutions, penitentiary facilities, and of course the precaution, the measures taken before entering this place. And the last year we created a call center upon the initiative of Ombudsman. And before that we had the hotline and the hotline for the NPM hotline for the child rights, but we gathered in one number, and now it's the 916, the hotline. They're functioning for 24 hours, 7 days. When my colleagues, the in-call center receive the information related to the complaint, related to the torture or any ill treatment, they transfer this information to the relevant the staff, the relevant department. And if it's related to the case of the torture, then of course to the NPM. And you see that they can examine everything in the facilities, in the institution, the living conditions of the persons which are deprived of their liberty, and all the documentation they can ask, the relevant documentation they can ask. So now we are entering the second part of Ombudsman's activities in armed conflict. And if you have any question for the first part of our presentation, then I would be happy to answer all of them. Or if you like, we can continue the second part, and then in the end, you can ask your question. So it's up to you. You can also send your question in the chat box, through chat box. My colleague will let me know about it. Well, now the second part, it's a special part for us. Actually, it was very actual situation. We are living in now post-conflict situation. In 2020, yes, please.
Yeah, Mr. Zaur, there is a question from Pakistan. I'm Dr. Arslan Subukdin. I'm advisor, Federal Tax Ombudsman, Pakistan, and just wanted to know that what is the exact process through which the rapid reaction teams visit various places where the torture is taking place? Like, what is the criteria of identifying, and what is the nature of the extent of torture? How do you determine that this level of torture, or whatever it is, how is it identified, and then how the rapid teams, they go there and take action?
Well, thank you for your question. Well, as I the early mentioned, that there are the concrete the criteria for the ombudsman for identifying any cases of torture. It's also enshrined in the OPCAT because my country ratified the OPCAT optional protocol to the convention, and there is a concrete criteria, and my colleagues, when they visit these places, of course, according to these criteria, they made the investigation. They ask the necessary question, which is important for the identifying the case, whether there was any fact of torture or any kind of the ill treatment or degrading treatment. In case of finding such case, of course, the immediate action taken without any delay, and the necessary the reports, of course, they prepared. Maybe I forgot to mention that the ombudsman, as an NPM, separately from the ombudsman general annual report, ombudsman also prepares the special report on NPM, which reflects the activities of NPM, reflects the NPM's, NPG's, the investigation and the results of this investigation.
Another question, please.
So, any question?
Yes, another question
please.
from Pakistan. My name is Sana Noor, and I'm working as Assistant Advisor in Federal Tax Ombudsman, Pakistan. My question is related to, you talked about National Preventive Group, and you said that you select people from civil society organization. Can you please explain how you select these people, and what is the criteria of the selection, and what is the number of the members of this group? How many people you select for this group? Thank you.
Thank you very much. This question is a good question. We established a special commission for this reason in the Ombudsman office, and the civil society members, not all of them, especially the independent experts or some civil society organizations who are specialized particularly in prevention of torture or the finding the fact of any kind of the ill treatment. So these civil society institutions, these institutions apply the ombudsman, to apply the commission, special commission that established it for this reason. Then from them we select with whom, and of course there are some criteria, their specialization, their experience in this field also taken into consideration. Then we select from them the person, if not in the staff of from the staff of ombudsman, he or she could be just independent expert with the rich background in the field of protection of human rights. As mentioned in my presentation, at the present, the numbers of the groups 23, and 7 of them they represent the civil society organizations as well as the independent experts. I have also the question. Well, maybe there are the questions in the chat box. Maybe we can answer all of them in the end of our presentation. And if you have the question now, you can ask, or in questions in the chat box, I can answer them in the end of our presentation, if you don't mind.
Zaur Bey, we asked the question by the chat, but it's okay if you answer at the end of the presentation, but it's okay. I just wanted to.
If you don't mind. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, in the second part, as I said, it's a specific, the case for us, specific issue actually for us, because as I said, we are living in now the post-armed conflict the time and period. In 2020, the Ombudsman especially actually very actively take part in the prevention of any torture, prevention of any violation of human rights and humanitarian law during the war period. And just let me give you brief information, historical information about the conflict. As you know, as you many of you know, that the 20% of Azerbaijani territories has been under the occupation of Armenia for about almost 30 years. And although we have the well-known resolutions of United Nations Security Council, which demand the immediate withdrawal of the occupying forces from the occupied territories of Azerbaijan, unfortunately, nothing happened. No steps have been taken in this regard. But the conflict continued, and we have 1 million internally displaced persons deprived of their basic rights, right to property, right to life, and they lived in different regions of our the country, and they cannot return their, they couldn't actually return their homelands because it was under the occupation. And also the provocative, the military attacks continued against Azerbaijan. This aggression continued. And for example, in last year in July, in mid of the July, we faced the new aggression from Armenia, and this time it was made today. They attacked the place, the district which far from the combat zone, the contact line in Tovuz, and as a result of this attack, the military personnel were killed, and one person with disabilities, an old person, was killed, and many civilian infrastructures were destroyed. So from the 27th of September, the military operation started, and in response to this aggression, and it lasted 44 days. Unfortunately, during this war, the Armenian side especially targeted the civilian infrastructures and the densely populated places in the cities of Azerbaijan. You see that these attacks launched, especially the long range with the long range rockets, they targeted the different the cities and districts of Azerbaijan. So you see this from the photos that the civilians especially were targeted during this the war, and the buildings and civilian infrastructures they destroyed, completely destroyed. And now I want to show you the footage that confirms that they target especially the densely populated places. And for example, this is the second, this is the Great Bazaar and Trade Union, which is located in the second largest city of Azerbaijan, Ganja city. Moment. And here you see that a house which is completely destroyed. And these photos taken by the ombudsman staff. And
Armenian military used prohibited weapons against Azerbaijani civilians. You can see here. This is the evidence. As a result of the war crime, 14 Azerbaijani civilians were killed. More than 14 civilians wounded. You can see the result of this attack. As you see, all civilian places around destroyed.
It should be noted that during the fact-finding mission, the Ombudsman found evidences and lots of many facts which confirms the use of banned munition by the Armenia against the civilians. And the Ombudsman addressed the open letter to the different international organizations, such as Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, and then they issued a special statement in their official site, which also confirms that they used the banned munition against the civilians. It's also the important issue, and this all of this took place in the special reports. Well, in this period, of course, Ombudsman very actively fulfills her functions, and as I said, preparing the reports and issuing the statements in order to bring these violation of human rights, violation of humanitarian law to the attention of the international community, and they participate in different conferences and also raise the issue during these conferences. So these are the special reports of the Ombudsperson based on her fact-finding mission. These reports related to the child casualties and the destruction of the historical and religious monuments, also the torture towards the prisoners of war. This issue is very important for us because you know that in wartime the soldiers could be taken as a captive, so the treatment to these captives could be in compliance with the Geneva Conventions, but unfortunately we faced the situation that Geneva Conventions were grossly violated by Armenia, especially when the Ombudsman met the soldiers who once were in the captivity of Armenia. She met face to face with them, and the information that obtained from them shows that they undergone the torture and ill treatment, and these issues, all these issues and facts taken place in her this special report. So these are the international organizations which responded, which reacted to this issue. And here I want to mention that, as I said, the ombudsperson raised the issue in different occasions, in different international events, and bring this issue the attention of the international community. And upon the invitation of the Ombudsman, the president of the OIC Ombudsman Association and the chief ombudsman of Turkey, Mr. Sheref Malkoç, they visited Azerbaijan and conducted on-the-spot investigation in the places which was undergone subjected to the rocket attacks. And he met with the people who witnessed that nightmare, and he also met with the children who lost both of their parents. And finally, the Ombudsman Institution of Turkey they prepared a special report, and taking this chance, I would like to thank the Turkish Ombudsman, Chief Ombudsman, and all the staff of the Ombudsman Institution of Turkey for this. And here I want to show you the treatment to the prisoners of war. In the right, actually the left, on the right side, you see that Azerbaijani soldiers and the treatment towards them during their captivity. And in the left side, Azerbaijani Ombudsman met the Armenian soldier in Baku, and the checking his situation, his treatment situation, and also gave him in their native language the convention, European Human Rights Convention in the Armenian language, and explained his right. So these are the Azerbaijani soldiers who liberated from the Armenian captivity, and the Ombudsperson of Azerbaijan met each of them face to face and spoke with them and learned about what they experienced during their captivity. And as a result of these meetings, the Ombudsman they prepared a special report on torture, and we sent it to the UN Special Rapporteur and other UN High Commissioner for Human Rights and other relevant institutions. This is also the special case for us, and these are the two hostages who were taken as a hostage in 2014. They were taken hostages while they visiting the graveyards of their relatives, and 6 years they detained in the captivity in Armenia and undergone different kind of ill treatment and degrading treatment and torture. So this photo is I want to share with you, and we are coming to the end of our presentation. And you see that in the right side, it's not a occupied place, a territory of Azerbaijan. And in the left side, you can see the occupied, the lands of Azerbaijan, and there are still mined places, a lot of mined places. You see that this place is almost dead place, and thank God that the army liberated these places, and there are still unmapped mine places. Still the threat for the life of people, because the people who want to visit the liberated place are under the risk of the explosion of these mines. And this is the place after the liberation, and you see the mosque, and now the coast are kept there in this mosque, and this is the insult, the blatant insult against the religion, religious belief of others. And you see that in above the Azam city before the occupation, and when the people lived there, and now below you can see the ghost city, and it's the liberated the city, and almost everything were destroyed. And one more thing I want to mention, that after the 44 days of the liberation of the armed conflict, when they agreed to, the political leadership decided to leave on their own will the places that they kept under the occupation. You see that the people burned all the buildings, and they didn't want to to leave anything behind them. And you know that now the IDPs, internal displaced people, at the moment, of course, they cannot they return their the territories, their houses, because there's nothing there. And the Azerbaijani government starts the instruction, the activities in these territories, in this place. So hopefully soon everything will be normal in that place, so the people can live together. Coexistence will be provided in that places, and the people can live in peace in that places. So, dear friends, dear colleagues, I conclude my presentation, and sorry for the technical problems, and the next time hopefully they will not happen. We try to prepare it in a short period of time. So I'm ready to receive your questions to answer. The question that's sent through chat box. What types of complaints have you received by the hotline? Do children also reach through the hotline, and what is the percentage? So I want to say that we are very close to the hotline at the moment. My colleagues are now working there. Now we can ask them and receive the very updated the numbers for this. Can you please update the number with them? Yes, the children they can reach us. Well, we have we conduct the public awareness raising the events also for the children in schools and in different places for the children, so they can reach us. There is no any restriction. And the call center, of course, upon the reception of these complaints and appeals, they forward these appeals to the relevant person. We have the specialized person in child rights. In case of any kind of let's say the violation of child rights, of course, this specialized person with other my colleagues can visit that place and meet the children that they lodged these complaints or made a phone call. So now they will update the number of hotline because it changes every day. So any question with regards to the NPM functions? And it's also interesting for me to know your experience or if you have the NPM mandate. I know that there are many the national human rights institutions that also has the NPM mandate, fulfills this mandate.
I have a question, Mr. Zaur.
Yes, please.
Yeah, thank you very much for your very informative presentation. My question is, we understand the situation at your borders.
Excuse me, I can't see who is asking the question.
Okay, it's me. I am Dr. Arslan from Pakistan, Federal Tax Ombudsman Office. Shall I start with my question?
Yes, please.
Okay, so thank you for your presentation. And of course, we understand the situation at your borders with Armenia. My question basically lies with the fact that after all the working of the ombudsperson and making the reports, do you send your reports to United Nations as well, in addition to Amnesty International and other international organizations which you mentioned? So in that case, what's the outcome? Is there some positive reaction from the international agencies toward the border situation and the atrocities which are being taken place at the border? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Yes, we sent the reports to the specialized bodies of UN. Of course, the relevant, for example, our reports related to the child casualties, we send it to UNICEF and other specialist UN bodies, and the special rapporteur on children in armed conflict, of course, and if the case is related to the violation of humanitarian law, of course, we also try to involve the ICRC in the case. Well, we received the response to our appeals and the statements, and as I said, the ombudsperson met with different the people, high-ranking people, and some of them are the confidential from the Council of Europe, from the UN. Of course, they also try to understand the situation, to learn more in detail about the situation. Of course, these things, in detail, taking place in our the special report and in a statement. But however, it's good to meet with the person, with the people, relevant people and relevant officials to explain this situation. And I also indicated that there's some international, the other independent international organizations such as the Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, the representative of Human Rights Watch came to the office and met with the ombudsperson, and they discussed this issue in detail. Of course, we provided all the facts and the evidences, and they taken during the fact-finding mission of ombudsperson in that places. I want to give you the number 115 the appeals received by our poll center. They updated, correct, for this. And there is also the one question. Could you please talk about efforts of your institution within the scope of access to information? Well, it's a good question, and my colleague also take part in this meeting. As I said, the last year, upon the initiative of ombudsperson, we newly created our department deals with the protection of the rights to access to information. There is a law, and there is authorities. We consider it as information holders. And when they don't do their job correctly, or any kind of maladministration, the fact of any kind of maladministration, in the case of maladministration, so of course, ombudsman they reacted immediately. But as I said, we newly created this department at the Ombudsman Office. So this year, of course, we will get more the results about the activities.
Sir, my name is Tariq. I am from Pakistan, advisor in Federal Tax Ombudsman Office. I want to ask, number one, so far the literature which is available, the mandate of ombudsman is against the maladministration. Here, what you have told us, mainly it revolves around the human rights, number one. Number two, the human right on the plan of...
I beg your pardon, excuse me. Could you please repeat your question? I hardly hear your voice. Could you please repeat it once again?
Okay. Sir, my name is Tariq. I'm from Pakistan, advisor in Federal Tax Ombudsman Secretariat. My question is that from the literature all over the world, function of ombudsman is against the maladministration or malpractices of the government functionaries everywhere. But in your presentation, I get an idea as if in your country, it revolves around human rights, whether be it protection against torture or whatever it is. Number two, the field of human rights is very large. It's the protection of property, protection of honor, protection of life, the right of gatherings, and so many things. So are you focusing only one issue, which is the torture and prisoners of war or something like that? Or in your case, the field of human rights is widespread?
Well, thank you for your question. Understood. The thing is that, as I said earlier, that according to our constitutional law, the ombudsman has the general mandate, the mandate of restoring the violated rights. Those rights violated by the governmental, if these rights violated by the governmental bodies, municipalities, and the officials, and also if these rights enshrined in the international conventions to which Azerbaijan is party. So in this respect, we can say that the ombudsman in general, if any case related to the human rights violation, the ombudsman can engage in the situation involved and they try to find the way in order to restore the rights. Of course, if it's happened in private sector, it's out of our mandate. The maladministration, it could be happen in anywhere. And if it's happened in the governmental bodies or the state authorities, of course, it's within the mandate of ombudsman. And hopefully I could answer your question.
Second part is still remaining, sir.
Yeah. So the participant from Iran wants to ask a question, please.
Thank you very much for your presentation. This is the interpreter speaking. I have received 2 questions, which I will read.
Excuse me, could you please speak a bit loud, because I have...
Is that okay now? Can you hear me now well?
Yes, now it's okay.
During your presentation, you talked about a rapid action group, if I'm right. I would like to know whether or not they have this authority to issue the cessation of torture or detention of the offender, or is it just that they reflect such instances in their reports? That's the first question.
Could you please repeat once again, because I missed some, and speak please a bit loud.
Okay, so you talked about a rapid action group. What is the guarantee that what is the execution guarantee that they will have? Do they have the right to issue an order to stop torture or to detain the offender, for example? Or is their responsibility only to reflect it in the reports they issue? The second question is whether this rapid action group is a judicial entity, meaning that they have permission for undertaking of operation. If not, under which body of the government? Is it judicial? Is it the executive body or parliament that they are operating? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. First of all, I want to say that the rapid reaction team was in before the NPG, National Preventive Group. And as I said earlier, that before designating as a NPM, the ombudsman, upon her initiative, set up such team, rapid reaction team, in order to react the cases that related to the human rights, the torture and the ill treatment. But after the ombudsman was given the mandate of NPM, we established the group, the National Preventive Group, and we talked about this group and functions and authorities of this group. Regarding your question, yes, when they visit and upon the finding any facts related to the torture, of course, the immediate decisions taken, and the ombudsman applied, urged to the relevant authorities in order to stop immediately any torture or any kind of the ill treatment, the degrading treatment. As I said, the ombudsman is not the institution, or has not this authority to give the binding decision. The only recommendations we can provide. But as I said, there is recommendations. We cannot say the weak recommendations. They are quite powerful, because if we look at the constitutional law and mandate of ombudsman, then we can see that if he quite has the large mandate. And authorities, as I said, without any hindrance and any prior notification, the MPG and ombudsman herself can visit without any limit and restriction, can visit all the places of the deprivation of liberty and the psychiatric clinics and the different even the state child care institutions. So there is not any limit for the ombudsman. Within the 24 hours and 7 days, they can visit these places and react all the appeals from the citizens or the people. And by the way, according to the 8th article of a constitutional law, the citizens of Azerbaijan, foreigner, and even stateless people can appeal the ombudsman. They can lodge a complaint with the ombudsman. So the second question, whether the format of the MPG, it's under auspices of the Ombudsman Institution. Ombudsman created this MPG in order to fulfill effectively the duties of NPM. The monitor the implementation of the International Convention Against Torture. So for this reason, the group was established in the Ombudsman office. So, any questions, please?
Question from Pakistan. I wanted you to, can you explain how you engage the minority groups and the marginalized section of your society about how you make them aware of the working of your Office of Human Rights, how you engage them and how you plan to engage them in the future? And can you explain about your outreach activities as well, apart from the social media? What other things you do to engage people of your society?
Thank you very much for your question. Well, regarding the minorities, here I want to mention that Azerbaijan is a multicultural country, and we have the different and lots of the ethnic the groups and minorities, nationalities. They live together happily. So it's a rare situation for us to face such the violation of the rights of minorities due to on the basis of its ethnicity belonging. So we very rarely we face such kind of situation. That's why if you look at the reports of our ombudsman annual report, then we see that the discrimination against them, it's not the often situation that we can face. However, the ombudsman also take this issue also into consideration. Now we are working on expanding the ombudsman's mandate in respect of the extra mandate for the ensuring the equality, ensuring the right to equality. So we are working for this. And the one more thing that I want to mention, that as a country, Azerbaijan has not the anti-discrimination law, but other laws and constitutional law, the constitutional law also prohibited any kind of action that may cause any the discrimination. So it's prohibited by the constitutional law and other laws also. If such kind of action take place, then of course it's punishable. However, the ombudsman, on regular basis, they meet with the representatives of the different, the local, the communities, and the representatives of the NGOs that are the NGOs of minorities. So it continue. But regarding the social media and well, there might be some the problems, but it's not as I said, the frequent case that we may face. It's the rare cases that to see that any kind of message or statement, the hatred against any the minorities or any the religious minorities, for example. So that's it. Thank you. Yes, please, Hande.
Thank you. By the way, we are a bunch of experts in the same room, so we appreciate all your presentation. And if there's a question from one of the experts, and we want to know what is the, I mean, have you observed the results of establishing the NPM in your country? For example, in terms of appeals to international mechanisms, for example, have appeals to the European Court of Human Rights declined against Azerbaijan after the establishment of NPM in Ombudsman Institution?
Well, thank you, Hande, for your question. Yes, we have the good the relations and with good cooperation with different international mechanisms, and especially the UN mechanisms. I'd like to mention here, as I stated earlier, that we, as a national human rights institution, prepare the special complementary reports. In some cases, we call it parallel reports, submitted to the relevant committees of UN. We call it the treaty bodies. And so in this report, this is the parallel reports actually to the state report. You know that there are the three category reports: the state reports, complementary reports, and alternative reports. Alternative reports are submitted by the civil society organizations. So we actively participate in the sessions, the preparatory sessions of the committees, and submit our the proposal and etc. So this process continued. Regarding the European Court of Human Rights, and I can say that we haven't such experience in this regard. I mean, applying to the European Court of Human Rights. But however, we have also the cooperation with the Council of Europe, very close cooperation, especially the Human Rights Commissioner of European Council of Europe, and on the regular basis, the ombudsperson met with her, and as well as with the High Commissioner for Human Rights of UN.
Actually, I was trying to ask, for example, can you see a positive result of the NPM? I know, for example, there are many appeals to the European Court of Human Rights against Turkey, for example. And maybe, I don't know the case in Azerbaijan, but I was wondering if it helped with a decrease in these appeals. This was the actual core of the question. So thank you again.
Okay, thank you. Regarding the positive results, yes, we see the positive results, because if we are able to stop any violation of human rights, any torture or any ill treatment, of course, we consider it a success of ombudsperson. Yes, there are the many positive cases that we had in the past, and we also reflect these cases in our annual report. Yes, we have the positive report, positive results in this regard. So our reports are placed in our official website, so you can very easily access and read and get lots of further information about it. And the Pakistan the question.
Yes, I was going through your website and I came across this. You offer internship programs to university students. Can you explain me how this program works and what criteria you take to offer internships to the students of the universities? Thank you. If it is
Can you please explain, repeat your question once again? I missed
sorry.
some
I
part
read,
of the question.
I read on your website about the internship plan you offer to university
Internship,
students.
yeah. Okay, I get it. Understood.
So can you explain how it works and
yes, yes. Thank you for your question. Regarding the internship program, yes, each year we conduct this program with the university students. They came to our the office for 3 months, and then they have the opportunity to hear the lectures of our staff, the head of the department, and also the head of the office, and the commissioner. They can hear their lectures and their experiences. In practice, they can learn the experience of our Ombudsman Office, Ombudsman Institution. We provide the detailed information about them and the presentation, and they also spend their time in the different departments, the learning, the practice of our staff, how the things are done here in Ombudsman Office. So this program continues, and each year we realize this program.
I really like this idea of engaging the youth in such matters. So it's really good effort by Azerbaijan Human Rights Office. Really good. I was really well impressed from this. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And Iran has a question.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم. اسدیان هستم از سازمان بازرسی جمهوری اسلامی ایران. ترجمه بفرمایید.
The Compassionate, the Merciful. I'm from the General Inspection Organization of Iran.
تشکر میکنم از ارائه خوب آقای دکتر ظهور محمدعلی.
I would like to thank you, Dr. Zaur Valimammadli, for your very insightful presentation.
بخشی از سوالات خودم رو به اصطلاح پاسخ پرسش‌ها و سوالات خودم رو از همکاران محترم از کشور ترکیه و پاکستان دریافت کردم. مالوس یکی دو مورد هست که من خدمتتون ارائه خواهم داد.
I had so many questions in mind, the response to which, of course, I received as you addressed the questions asked by other colleagues from the Ombudsman of Turkey, for example. But still, there are 2 or 3 questions that remain, which I will put forth to you.
سوال اول در خصوص بخش نخست ارائه آقای دکتره. 1. خدمتتون رو عرض کنم که آیا برای انجام وظایف و فعالیت‌های آمبودسمان این آمبودسمان میتواند به دستگاه قضایی کشور آذربایجان ورود بکنه یا نه؟
My first question concerns the first part of your presentation. And here's the question. In the fulfillment of their duties and mandates, can the Ombudsman Institution enter the judicial system as well? I mean, which means, is the judicial system under the authority of Ombudsman too?
سوال بعدی. آیا پرسنل آمبودسمان کشور آذربایجان همه پرسنل غیر قضایی هستند یا به تعبیر ما قضات هم اونجا مشغول به کارن؟
The second question regards the employees, the Ombudsman employees. Are they non-judicial, or are they, I mean, do they also include judges working in the Ombudsman Institution of Azerbaijan?
خدمتون راجع به بخش دوم، این گزارش هایی که ایشون فرمودن تهیه میکنن و ارائه میدن، اشاره داشتن که ما توصیه یا پیشنهاد میکنیم در هر حال ضمانت اجرای قانونی، یعنی بر اساس قوانین و مقررات موضوعی کشور آذربایجان در رابطه با تحقق اجرای توصیه و پیشنهادهای اونها توسط سازمانهای دولتی اهم از اداری و قضایی چیست؟
ببخشید من سوالتون رو متوجه نشدم.
آقای دکتر گزارش دادن، گفتم ما گزارش های ما پیشنهادهاشون، یعنی ما توصیه های قوی میکنیم. سوال من اینه مشخصاً ضمانت اجرا اگر چنانچه دستگاهی اهم از سازمانهای اجرایی یا قضایی کشور آذربایجان توصیه یا پیشنهادهای اونا رو اجرا نکنند، ها چه مجازاتی، اینجوری راحت‌تر بگم، چه ضمانتی وجود داره اگر اجرا نکردن؟ یعنی من مقام مسئول در کشور آذربایجان اجرا نکردم، چه مجازاتی منو میکنن؟ یا مثلا برخورد قانونیشون چیه؟
The second, another question regards the recommendations that you make. And you said that they are not weak recommendations, but rather they are strong recommendations that you make. Now, if in the executive branch or in the judicial branch, they do not conform or comply with the recommendations that you make, what punishment is awaiting them? That is, what guarantee is there for the implementation of recommendations by Azerbaijani Ombudsman?
سوال دوم، چگونگی رسیدگی به نقض حقوق کودکان یا حالا بر اثر شکایت شخصی اشخاص یا گزارش آمبودسمان کشور آذربایجان در محاکم قضایی آذربایجان چگونه است؟
And the second question regards the processing of complaints on the violation of children's rights. Whether there is a personal appeal coming to Azerbaijani Ombudsman, or whether it's as per report of the Ombudsman, how are they processed in the judicial system of Azerbaijan once they are received?
با تشکر مجدد از آقای دکتر محمد علی.
Thank you once again, Dr. Mohammad Ali, for taking the patience answering my questions.
Thank you for your question. The first question regarding the court cases, and I won't say that according to the Constitution of Azerbaijan, the courts in my country are independent, so any institution can involve in the court cases. So neither the ombudsman can do it, but however, the ombudsman can take into consideration the cases related to the red tape, the loss of documents in the court cases. But the courts are very independent, so we cannot, the ombudsman cannot involve in the court process. The second, the question, the related to the staff of the Ombuds office. Yes, our staff members are the officers, the public servants, and we are not, the judges cannot be hired, so the other judge, but the person with the rich background, the lawyer, can be hired by employed by the ombudsman, but we are the public servants. Regarding the question of the decision of the ombudsman, yes, the decision of ombudsman are not binding, but as I said, it's powerful. Why? Because the ombudsman has the great, the very large mandate and the authorities to reach, as I said, for example, in the case of NPM, the NPM, MPG, the members can, or ombudsman, also to visit within 24 hours without any notification any place, in police station and the units and the penitentiary facilities, to investigate, to ask for the necessary documents, relevant documents, to investigate them, and if any recommendation was not implemented by the authorities, of course, the ombudsman can go to the upper supreme the authorities. And finally, the Ombudsman can put all these violations in her annual reports. This annual report they submit the country president and the relevant the parliament and other relevant state bodies. Also, the Ombudsman each year they speak with the report before the parliament. So this issue, of course, as an ombudsman, you know that the philosophy of ombudsman requires it, and to keep the issues in the agenda of the society, and as was mentioned in my second part, for example, the violation of human rights, violation of the norms of humanitarian law. The ombudsman took necessary the steps with a report, with the statements, to bring this to the attention of the international the community. Of course, we are not expecting the UN or other, for example, the international bodies to punish anyone, but of course they can take within their mandate to take the necessary the steps in order to stop this violation, stop, for example, the occupation, stop the violation of the IDPs, and etc. So to assist, to support, to bring the perpetrators to the justice, criminal liability. Well, did I miss the question from Iran? Maybe I missed. I think I answered all the questions from Iran. Is there anything that I missed? Okay, I think not. Well, any question?
ایشون سوال بکنید در رابطه بخش دوم، چنانچه اون گزارش‌های اونها حاوی نقض حقوق کودکان باشه یا شخصی خودش رأساً شکایتی ارائه داده باشه به محاکم قضایی کشور آذربایجان، برابر نظام قضایی آن کشور چگونه رسیدگی میشه؟ اینو خواستیم.
Just the last question remains unanswered. I will read it out to you once again, and that is the reports or appeals arriving at Azerbaijani Ombudsman on the violation of children's rights.
Yeah.
How will be processed in the judicial system of Azerbaijan?
Well, thank you for reminding me this. Well, regarding the child rights issue is very important for Ombudsman's activities. It's one of the essential the directions of Ombudsman in her activity. We received the child right, any kind of the case related to the child rights violation. Of course, that is immediately reacted. And sometimes children, sometimes Ombudsman can act according to the ex officio the principles. If we get any information from the mass media or media, then Ombudsman, of course, can react immediately, and they start the investigation upon her initiative. So there is not any restriction and limit for this. And recently, the Ombudsman did such the kind of things, and they started the reaction, the response to the news they spread it in the mass media. We are working in general the justice, and still the works in this respect they continue. And as I said, the NPM also visits the state child care the institutions. They examine the situation there, the living conditions, and whether the rules are implemented by the staff members of the institution or the facilities. So necessary the steps taken by the ombudsman. For example, the last year, the ombudsperson, as a national rights institution, submitted her this next the report, the complementary report on the Child Rights Convention, submitted to the UN committee, and also we took part in the session of the UN, and these put forward our own the recommendations in this regard. Any question?
عرض کردم تشکر بکنید.
Thank you very
عرضی
much.
ندارم من.
Thank you too for your questions and active participation. If no questions, then I think it's time to conclude our presentation and the training. And it was great pleasure for me to address you, and great honor for me. And thank you very much for your time, for joining us. And hopefully my presentation is interesting for you, and it's kind of the exchange of views. And I hope that in our next training, we will have an opportunity to learn your experiences, your activities as well. Thank you very much.
Mr. Zaur, just can
Yeah.
I take 1 minute before you conclude the training?
Yes, please.
Since Mr. Sheref Malkoç is the presidency, so I would like to say a few sentences. You know, we don't want to skip the training, so we are planning to realize a training each month. So I would like to remind all the participants that, of course, we will contact the executive secretary with Pakistan, and we will organize. And I mean, when I say we are going to contact the members of the association and see who is volunteered to realize the next training. So we would like to just remind that we hope to see everyone again next month for the next training. And once again, thank you for the great presentation.
Thank you, Anda, and thanks to you all and Secretary of OIC Ombudsman Association, and also the Chief Ombudsman of Turkey, Mr. Malkoç, for his initiative. It's really great initiative for us to have this exchange of views and experiences with each other. We learn more about it, and it's make us more close to each other and strengthen the cooperation between our institutions. Thank you all, and wishing you all the best.
1 minute.
Yeah.
Can you hold for 1 minute? As Pakistan holds the seat of Secretary General, I would like to request Turkey office and as well as Azerbaijan office to send us the picture of the trainer and a brief profile, so we could wanted to do some updation on the website. So we want to put some things on the website. So we'll be needing the picture from Azerbaijan and from the Turkey as well, with the brief introduction of the trainers. Thank you.
I think my colleague has already sent this, the brief information. Maybe it didn't reach you, but however, we will send it. No problem.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.